Tomorrow marks 5 weeks until Super Tuesday, when candidates across California will be on the ballot for local, state, and federal positions. Orange County, fifth largest voting jurisdiction in the United States. It's a fun fact. 1.8 million registered voters. And here to talk about that and how the county is preparing for primary day is Orange County Registrar of Voters, Bob Page. Bob, thanks for coming in. Welcome to Inside the Issues.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you. It's a huge voting jurisdiction.
It is.
On top of the fact that so many people are just so curious and interested and invested in these Orange County elections. Primary day is coming up. How you all preparing? How you feeling?
Well, yeah, it's coming up. As you said, it's in 5 weeks, though I would say that we, last week, already started to mail our county voter information guide to voters so they'd get information about what's on the ballot. We also are mailing ballots starting on Monday. 1.8 million ballots will be going out in the mail. We've already started to train 1,200 staff to work in our vote centers, hiring and training another 300 people to work in our office. We've been out in the community educating people about the election, how to vote, where they can vote, when they can vote. So we've been busy.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's elections and democracy feels like it's on the ballot for so many people too, and just these meta conversations about what it means to vote and who can vote. So many people, and I don't need to tell you this, are worried about election integrity and security. And in Orange County, I suppose one way in which that's come up was two of these recall elections recently that you had to reverse. One about the Orange Unified School District, one about Santa Ana City Council. And your office is very transparent about what happened there. I think for the people at home in Orange County, just talk a bit about what happened and what y'all did about it.
Yeah, well, obviously in elections, transparency is critical.
It's everything.
It's everything. Yeah. So when we identify an issue, we're going to be upfront about it. So with the Orange Unified School District recall elections, we had evaluated and examined petitions to try to see if that would qualify for the ballot. We noticed right after we had issued a certificate about the results of that examination that we had not reviewed enough signatures, so we started over. It still qualified for the ballot. It'll be on the ballot coming up in March. For those two positions to be up for the question about whether they should be recalled. Yeah. In Santa Ana, the situation is a little different. In city elections, the city clerk is actually elections official, and we're providing contract services basically to them. And so we determined kind of late in the process, after it had already been qualified for the ballot, and as we were getting ready to have votings to start, that the person who was up for the question about whether to be recalled had been elected prior to redistricting. Okay. And so we asked the question of the city clerk is, you know, when we did the examination of the petition, we based it on the new district ward that the council member was in, but we believe that we probably should have used the one that was in place in 2020 when she was elected. Please tell us what you want us to do. The city decided to move forward with the election the way that we had originally evaluated the petition, and the election was held. The council member ended up keeping her seat.
Okay, yeah. I mean, what's been your sense of the reaction to these two moments? As I said, people are just wanting to make sure that their vote is counted, that there's no funny business. Yeah. What was your sense of what was the response?
I think people expect us to do better, and we learn from our mistakes and make sure that when we're going forward we add checks to the process, make sure that we're talking to city clerks and asking the question about, okay, this person who's a target of recall, when were they elected, what map was used, so we can be a little bit more diligent about having those conversations with the city clerk. Yeah. Because we know that because there's certain questions out there or trust issues right now in the community, that every little mistake, even if we're transparent about it, still might add to more questions. So, you know, as I said, elections need to be transparent. We're going to continue to be so. We're going to continue to strive to get better at what we do and have honest conversations about it.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate hearing that. Elections need to be transparent, and also y'all need to be safe. And this conversation has been huge after 2020. These sorts of threats and intimidation to election workers. In fact, we saw that on the federal level during the January 6th testimony for some of these hearings. This election worker in Georgia, Shay Moss, had really moving testimony about what her life was like after some of these threats. Let's just take a listen to some of that, and I'll have you respond on the backside.
A lot of threats, wishing death upon me, telling me that, you know, I'll be in jail with my mother, and saying things like, be glad it's 2020 and not 1920.
I just wonder, for someone in your position, because she may as well be one of your colleagues there, what's your response to that testimony, and what are you doing to make sure that everyone's safe on your end?
It's hard. I mean, I will say to start off that thankfully there have been no direct threats to myself or anybody in my office in terms of how we conduct elections, but it's something that's critically important to me is to keep my staff safe, to keep voters safe when they're actually showing up to vote, as well as people who want to come and watch, that they stay safe as well. So, you know, we take that very seriously. We work really closely with our law enforcement partners at the federal, state, and local level. And you know, they help us run exercises, train. They're monitoring internet traffic and chatter to see whether anything's coming up. We always have sheriff's deputies at our office, as well as in the community as we bring ballots back from vote centers. They will convene on a certain area, then they're transported back from that area. So there's always a sheriff's deputy at those ballot collection hubs. You know, we've got partnership with the district attorney's office. They're out in the field. They can investigate complaints and different things like that. So we're constantly working and trying to come up with new ideas. You know, we've made a concerted effort the last few election cycles to really do it as much as we can to train our temporary help, the people that work in the vote centers for us, about how to de-escalate situations, how to listen to people and help serve them. That people may be upset, but they're not upset at them. You know, we really take that really seriously. And then when people want to come, you know, as I said, we have to balance transparency with safety. I mean, we have to let people come to our office and watch what we're doing and get sufficiently close. So, you know, one of the things I've made a commitment to my staff is that we're going to screen people as they come in. We're renting metal detectors for our office so that people who want to visit and watch what we're doing, we'll make sure that they're coming in a safe way. You know, it's something you have to be diligent about. You know, you had the recent situation with substances being mailed to offices, and you know, so we quickly made sure that we had Narcan in our office. We got training, and we're continuing to work on those kind of issues.
Well, we have to say, you guys staying safe means our elections are safe, and that's so important to us. There's more to talk about, and I hope you'll come back to do it, especially as this election gets closer. But thank you so much for coming in. Thanks for doing the work. It's critically important, and it's great to meet you, Bob Page.
Thank you for having me.
All right, great to have you.